showtime.
In 1999, Nintendo fans were treated to a game unlike any they had experienced before, a revolution in fighting games that spawned one of Nintendo's best multiplayer franchises. This is the original Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64, a game that was a party favorite of my friends and I until the GameCube sequel came along. Now let's see, story. Do you really want me to find an actual story for this game?
Don't be ridiculous.
Well, I guess you could argue that the story is about a white-gloved hand playing with toys of Nintendo characters and making them fight each other. Otherwise, there really is no story here. The point is the concept. Super Smash Bros. Introduced us to a game that pits 12 of Nintendo's most famous characters against each other in an all-out fight to the death. But rather than follow in the footsteps of games like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and others, Smash Bros. Brought new concepts that helped the game form its own subgenre. A subgenre that has seen both sequels and imitators. You know who you are. The game actually combines platforming, a genre that Nintendo is well experienced in, with comic book-like combat. Each of the 12 characters can use moves and items that are appropriate from the respective games they've been in. And using these moves and items, your goal is to beat up your opponents to put more damage on them. Now instead of the health bar that is featured in most fighting games, Smash Bros. Replaces that with the objective of knocking your opponents off the screen. Build damage through various attacks, and then hit them hard with something you hope will send them flying.
Give these people air.
Now when it comes to the visuals of this game, it's definitely an area where Smash Bros. Shows its age. The backgrounds on the stages look kind of bland and the character models are low quality even for what the N64 could do. But the visuals were pretty good for the time. It's mainly looking at this from a modern perspective that you see the visual flaws. The presentation does do well in sound though, just not great. Each stage has a piece of music playing from the same game that stage is inspired by. The Mario theme at the Mushroom Kingdom stage for example. And each character makes noises that you would expect them to make, well, during a fight. The hit sound effects sound good, but some of them feel a bit too generic for attacks that some characters throw. Sound pretty powerful though. Falcon Punch! There is a single player mode to this game, but there isn't really much incentive to play it other than unlocking everything. It's a very arcade style challenge that lets you adjust how easy or hard it is, and pits you against different opponents with their own variations. A giant Donkey Kong, teams of Yoshis and Kirbys, even other challenges like target breaking. Altogether, the single player experience is worth playing, but like I said, there isn't really a reason to play it again after everything is unlocked. Honestly, the game's main attraction and the reason why it became so legendary is the multiplayer. When my friends and I were in elementary school, this game allowed us to finally find answers to who would win in a fight questions like Fox vs Link or Mario vs Pikachu. Nowadays we play Smash Bros. Simply for the fun of it. And perhaps what made this game more fun was the accessibility of the controls, eliminating all that button combo memorization in favor of controls that are easy to learn but difficult to get pro at. And that's part of the draw for core gamers. You can play this game so much that you become skilled with what simple button combos this game has. There's also a good freedom of choice here. Players can choose any of the 12 characters to fight with, and even figure out which ones work best for them based on the moves and attributes. For me, I fight best with Luigi, but I know plenty of people who play their best with Pikachu, Kirby, or Link. Everyone's different. Of course, if you've already played Melee before this N64 original, the character list does seem small by comparison, but it does include Nintendo's biggest franchises. One thing that's fun to do is to include AI bot opponents into the match when you don't have 4 human players. Given that you can adjust their skill levels, you can use matches against bots as practice, or beat them up for the sake of beating them up. It's also fun if you have a friend over to team up against bots, or even make a match with bots only, just so you can place bets on which bot wins. And let's not forget that you can also customize which items can be used, the exact game mode, number of lives, the time limit, and being able to choose to stage each match. The game lends a lot of control to the players, and that in general is what makes it feel like such a fun-filled package and a must-own for any N64 owner. But again, from a modern day perspective, the game does feel flawed. There could have been more stages, and compared to the sequels, this game does feel a lot slower in the combat, especially if you're used to the really fast-paced combat in Melee. But those of us who love the sequels, Melee and Brawl, owe their existence to what was perhaps the best multiplayer game on the N64 period. This is my last N64/Virtual Console review, and I'll now be moving on to GameCube games. Until my next review, here's to this game, and here's looking forward to the hopefully awesome next Super Smash Bros. Game on the Wii U, and finally, a portable Smash Bros. Game on the 3DS.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Game set! This game's winner is... Luigi!